let's bring in our Osun correspondent, Jami Omoni, for a full read on the general mood across the state after Saturday's election. Good morning, Jami Omoni.
Good morning in the studio, and good morning, Nigerians.
Good to have you here with us.
It's a pleasure.
All right, so Jami, we've shown viewers the celebrations at the state secretariat and across Osun since Saturday's results. Beyond the visible jubilation among party loyalists, what's the genuine broader mood among ordinary residents right now?
Yes, good morning, Nigerians, once again. Just like we have predicted that despite the friction and violence that marred the pre-election period in Osun State, we have predicted that based on the political consciousness and maturity of the people of Osun State, that the election will come and obviously it is going to be free, and that is exactly what happened. It's an election that was conducted without any record of deaths in all the 30 local governments and one area council in the state, and I think we should give that to the majority of Osun State people. However, the election has come and gone, and winner has emerged, and we have seen celebration all over from the supporters of the governor across that local government. However, I think the general mood of the residents of Osun State, regardless of who win and who lost, is the fact that we had a peaceful election and Osun remain peaceful at the end of the election, and that is what we have been enjoying since the declaration made by the INEC on Sunday.
So it's been a jubilant mood with no record of violence at all.
Definitely.
All right. So Governor Adeleke won 19 of the state's 30 local government areas, with Oyebamiji taking 11, a comfortable but not overwhelming margin. Does that spread suggest a state that is genuinely united behind the result, or is it a fairly evenly divided one?
You understand that the political situation here in Osun is not peculiar with other places where there is dominance of a particular political party in certain area. Say from the fact that there has a block vote for Governor Ademola Adeleke and Iriwole in Ikiri, also have a block vote for Bola Oyebamiji of the APC. I think in other places they share the votes within themselves. I start from Boripe, where former Governor Boyega Oyetola comes from, where most of the votes also goes to the APC, and the likes of Egbedore, that is an ally of the South and the North, in the same federal constituency, where Governor Ademola Adeleke also recorded a bulk vote. Other places, they share the votes evenly, and that was what summed up together for APC to win 11 and the Accord Party to win 19. So that shows that in all these areas, none of them has dominance over the other. They all have their supporters. Though some have majority while the other have minority. So that is what we have experienced so far. And it also contributes to the fact that there is a growing political consciousness. It is not about party. It is not about religion. It is not about tribe, but it is about choice. And that is what has been demonstrated by the people of Osun State in the last election.
All right. So, if you remember vividly, we spent considerable time on this show covering the tension leading up to the vote, the EFCC account freeze, allegations of politically motivated arrest, the killing of APC members in Elisha, and Senator Fadahunsi's controversial remarks. Now that the results are in, has that tension actually dissipated, or it is just hiding somewhere beneath the celebrations? Do you think all actors involved have accepted their fate and they've allowed peace to reign?
Obviously, even on the day of the election, it's as if the tension disappeared with the magic. But as we speak now, the environment is still very peaceful and calm, though we are expecting some kind of a drama to happen in some instances, the likes of the parks and garages. We've seen indications that loyalists of the Accord Party and Governor Ademola Adeleke are willing to take over a park in what may likely turn out to be a dramatic event, because it has never been peaceful over hijacking the authority of the parks and garages. So we are going to keep an eye very closely to this. And of course, there have been institutions in many quarters that the local government chairmanship is going to be forcefully overtaken. So all of this put together will be something we can probably contend with in the coming days. But based on the governorship election, I think all the major actors have accepted their fate and probably move on. Though the Director General of the APC, Uluwole Oke, said that they will not be under pressure to congratulate Governor Ademola Adeleke, that they are still studying the result, and of course they are going to make decisions based on their conviction. So all of this put together, based on the governorship election, I think that one is sorted and sealed. But based on alliances and realignment of all these structures within the state, there's still likely to be a sort of drama in the coming days.
Okay, because there were some viral videos yesterday where some NURTW members were moving in mass to the parks, to the NURTW parks, and trying to chant some songs saying they've now taken over. What's really happening with the NURTW structure in Osun State after this election? Not forgetting that that man called Ashiri Eniba, who is an NRTW chieftain, openly declared for the APC. So now that the election is going the other way, what does this say about the fate of the NURTW in Osun State?
Obviously, during the last governorship election in 2022, Governor Ademola Adeleke was running on November 27. It was the second day that some people believed to be his loyalists also went to the park. And even in that instances, about 2 or 3 people were lost to the incident when it was forcefully hijacked from Kazim Oyewale, known as Asiri Eniba then. And I think it was because probably they believed they had power at this time last month. That was when Kazim Oyewale also took hijacked the leadership from Nuruddin Alowonle aka Omomomi. And we have seen how the event has come out to play now. And of course, it was not only Asiri Eniba faction that declared support for a particular candidate. Also, Nuruddin Alowonle aka Omomomi also declared support for Governor Ademola Adeleke. So to obviously state where the both camp belongs to. And now that the camp of Nuruddin Alowonle aka Omomomi has won, so it is not going to be a surprise for us to see that they have the backing of the state government to overtake or to override the leadership of Kazim Oyewale aka Asiri Eniba back. So all we are just going to advocate for is a peaceful transition, as the case may be, so that no life will be lost again, and we are going to have a relative peace across the states.
All right. In the past few days after the election results were announced, we've had Governor Ademola Adeleke say the president has congratulated him, even though we didn't have the opportunity to witness how that congratulation happened. But officially, as the APC or Bola Oyebamiji specifically formally reacted to or considered the result, all we've been hearing is that they are still studying the result. Does this mean they don't agree with what INEC has declared, or they are just struggling to accept defeat, being a major ruling party in Nigeria?
You understand that politicians have their way, and of course, it is not a surprise that because so many civil society organizations and credible election observers has also shared the same opinion that okay, though as much as it is commendable for how people are resilient and how the majority have stand by their choices and defended their vote until the declaration was made, that they also noticed and observed a wide range of sentimental political disposition to the fact that had it been the election did not favor the choice of those people that supported their cause, that they would have denigrated the effort of the INEC, which to so many people was considered free and fair and probably well organized. Because even on the day of the election, so many chieftains of the Accord Party that we spoke to, even after casting their vote in a relatively peaceful atmosphere, they still condemn the exercise that okay, they are not sure that INEC is doing their own. Some of their people are not allowed to vote. They are not confident in the process. So until they were eventually declared winner,
Then their,
so
then their confidence came back.
yeah, their confidence came back. So this is to tell you that all this sentiment, the Justice Development and Peacemaker Center opine that all these political confidence that has returned back is sentimental rather than evidence based. So this is to tell you that had it been the governor also failed to clinch victory at the poll, they are likely to do the same thing, finding it difficult to welcome the development and also congratulate the winner. So just like one of their chieftains said yesterday, that it is not in the constitution for them to call the governor and congratulate him. But the fact of the matter is that the president has played his fatherly role, and election has been got. So anybody that feel aggrieved know the right channel to channel his grievances. So I think that is still within their power to say, okay, they are not congratulating him or they are studying the result. But as it stands now, Governor Ademola Adeleke is re-elected for second term to begin on November 27, 2026.
Now let's talk about the high-profile chieftains who realigned a couple of days to the election. We had a number of them. What's their position currently? Remember, particularly the former governor of Osun State, Olagunsoye Oyinlola, who pledged his, his allegiance to the APC in the build-up to that election.
Here in Osun, beyond having so many leaders across all the major cities, we still have prominent national leaders of political parties. We should not forget that our former governor, Bisi Akande, at some point was the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress.
Sure.
And of course, former Governor Oyinlola was at some point one of the national leaders of the People Democratic Party, including Tajuddin Oladipo. So all of these late Soji Adagmodo was also national leader of the People Democratic Party. All of them, they are prominent figure. But regardless of their prominence in the political landscape of Nigeria, the consciousness of Osun State override their influence, and Osun State will still go by their choices. You can also observe that former governor Rauf Aregbesola, who is the national secretary of the ADC, lost his polling unit to the All Progressives Congress. So to tell you that a national secretary of a particular political party cannot able to secure victory for his party in his polling unit, we go a long way to say that, okay, even if the president of the Federal Republic belongs to a polling unit in Osun, and probably the people are not convinced in his ideology, the people will still not vote for him and nothing will happen. So that is what has played out in the case of Oyinlola. Oyinlola not able to win his polling unit one, and of course at the end of the day, his preferred candidate did not win the election, does not mean that his influence is totally overridden, but it has shown that within his area, within his polling unit, the people are not buying the ideology that the man has brought. And of course, it's a democracy, so it does not mean that the best man will win actually. So if Oyinlola has preferred a candidate and the people are not going in line with him, I think they have the right to do so. But it still remains the fact that here in Osun, we have a high deposit of political bigwigs, and we can give credence to them whenever there is a time for national discourse. But in terms of making preference for the people of Osun State, I don't think they have that absolute power over the people of Osun State.
Now let's look at the conduct of our EFCC and other anti-graft agencies and our security agencies in that particular election. We saw a lot of viral videos of electorates handling cash, and some people were even excited, jubilating, holding a substantial amount of cash, saying, okay, we collected their money, but we didn't vote for them. That signaled lots of vote buying in that election. What was your observation talking about the very obvious vote buying activities we saw from the viral videos? Or were those cash handling, were they just facade? Were they not real?
Obviously, nobody can discard the incident of voter inducement directly, indirectly, and vote buying from the just concluded election. As much as many civil society organizations and election observers have commended INEC and the security agency for that well-coordinated election, they have not been able to displace the fact that voter inducement and vote buying seriously occurred, and not from a particular political party alone, from all the major political parties. However, just like we have mentioned that, okay, people are sentimental in their disposition to events and happenings. The two or the three major political parties conducted themselves in a way that they bought vote and they induced voter on the day of the election. And where some videos were trending that the opposition of Progressive Party, Congress were buying votes, there were also incidents reported where the the Accord Party were also buying votes. So in totality, I think this is a way to go for the anti-graft agency that, okay, if INEC is securing their own end to ensure that the arrival of their officials, the management of the voting exercise, the management of the result, the declaration of the eventual result is being widely accepted by people, and people are beginning to consider it free and fair. Then I think the anti-graft agency, in their participation in their electoral program, must also step up their game to ensure that both direct and indirect voter inducement is also reduced to the barest minimum, but it should not be restricted to a particular political party alone. The major political parties still conduct themselves in a way that they induce voter and they bought vote on the day of the election. So, and of course, if it had been a case that the Accord Party had lost and the APC had won, so this is the narrative that will also be trending against the Accord Party that, okay, we collected their money and we did not vote for them. And of course, when you see 511,000 votes and 440 voters, it tells you that it is not a kind of total dominance, it's just a matter of majority. So, and all of them to secure those votes, there were a lot of serious voter inducement and vote buying for all of them to gather all the votes put together.
All right. As a final question now, before we allow you go, with the election now behind Osun, what happens next? Should we be expecting a legal challenge to the result, or what should residents expect from Governor Adeleke's second term, based on what he has promised? Because he has given lots of promises after emerging as the winner of that election.
Anyway, we cannot predict what will happen in terms of whether the election will be challenged in court or not. However, there are some development that does not probably signal to the fact that the election will be challenged. Is the reaffirmation of the endorsement by Governor Adeleke for President Bola Tinubu. And I don't think at this time the All Progressives Congress will also be sitting towards giving the governor pressure so that he'll be able to work for President Bola Tinubu come 2027. And at the end of the 2027 general election, I don't think anybody will have the time to welcome the challenge of the election result in court anymore. So we are not likely going to see the election result being challenged in court, based on the fact that we are just about 7 months to the general election, and the governor has expressed readiness even to work with the opposition APC in supporting President Bola Tinubu. So if you put their two votes together, that is about 1.5 million votes, a potential 1.5 million votes for President Bola Tinubu in Osun State. And I don't think the president will be willing to lose that support from any of them, either the APC or the Accord Party. So that one being settled, I think many things that residents have expressed even before the election was conducted that, okay, if it is Governor Adeleke that is able to secure continuous term in office, or the All Progressives Congress are able to secure victory in the election, that enough of this cosmetic infrastructural project. We are building roads, we are building bridges, even in so many places that some people have expressed the fact that they are not necessary. That we have had enough of it. Also, state educational sector is not in a too good state. As I speak to you, so many mega schools that was built by the administration of former Governor Rauf Aregbesola, most of them are now returning to shambles. We see a school having 52 classrooms, now only about 10 or 11 are in use. We see a whole local government reported to only have 11 science teachers, and the teachers will be roaming around the school for the days that is going to take the students. So all these are not too good. And of course, the health sector too needs serious and emergency attention from any government in power. And I think this should be the area, the residents of the state should call the attention of the state government, the health sector, the agri sector, and of course the education sector. I think when all these are seriously developed ahead, given priority ahead of infrastructure in the second term of Governor Adeleke, I think Osun will be better off, and the government seriously deserve the support of all and sundry in the state, regardless of political or religious affiliation, so that the state can grow in the next 4 years to come.